What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Aras, and in today's video, actually, before we get into today's video, I have a question for you guys. How do y'all feel about pears? I'm eating a pear right now. I'm eating a pear. It is so good. I'm just curious what you think about pears. I feel like people have very contrasting views. Some people are like pears are the worst. It's like tomatoes. Some people have some terrible views on tomatoes are amazing. If you don't like tomatoes, bruh, don't even tell me. I don't even want to know. Don't even tell me. But yeah. So, in today's video, I was just scrolling through like the tier lists in Wynncraft, and what I found was this. Look at this. It is all the bosses or the main bosses in Wynncraft. I guess it's the bosses in certain dungeons and all the highest level ones. It looks like they have quite a few from Legendary Island, from a few of the final quests, and yeah. So I figured, hey, why not go through them and explain why I'm right and everyone else is wrong? I haven't looked at anyone else's tier list on this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go through with it. If I don't remember one of these guys, I'm just gonna search them up. It's that simple. I don't need to be smart to do this. I can make a tier list if I want to. I don't care what you have to say. Maybe I do. Maybe a little bit. Okay, anyways, yeah, so let's just get right into it. I really won't be in Wynncraft that much today. I'll really just be online, searching this stuff up. Okay, so let's see here. The first one is, I feel like I should pull up a tab of every single person first, so that way I can easily switch between them. Give me a second while I do that. And done. Easy. Look at that. Wow, you didn't have to do anything. It's over and it's done. How amazing. How great. Now, this person had an SSS tier, and then they had an S tier, and then an A tier, then a B tier, then a C. There's not enough people here. There's just not enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one. I'm gonna delete the SSS. So SSS is like just the best, and then you have A, B, C, D. No E tiers needed. Delete, and we'll just have an F tier down there. Perfect. Okay, so first starting off with Yaya. No, that is Amadeus. So it's fully formed Amadel. I don't know how to pronounce him. He is the boss of the final boss of Wynncraft Site D, and he actually is scary, bro, because he is defensive. Sorry. He's defensive against every elemental type, and the boss fight is actually it's not, it depends what class you play. It can be very, very tough, and there's like multiple levels to it. He has like, yeah, it's crazy, and there's cool puzzles going on to him. Honestly, his story, it kind of gets a bit wacky because he kind of like, I don't know, like it doesn't make sense that he's turning himself into some weird wither type of deal. But I do like the boss fight, so I think for that reason he gets an A tier. SSS tier is if they have a great story behind it too, I think. Then you have Yaya's final form. In Yaya's final form, if you look at his level, he's level 9001. He's over 9000, which I think is hilarious. He's literally just a boss. He's a quote-unquote boss. Confronted in the quest Shattered Minds, which is a whole different story we can get into later, because it's literally just a quest where you get high and you you just see all this stuff. You can literally just walk right past him. He can't kill you. He can only bring you down to 1 HP, but he can't kill you. So it's kind of funny that he has like infinite health and that he takes no damage and that his level is over 9000. So the story is great. The boss itself is honestly, just because it's so funny, it has to be A tier. I love that. Then we have death metal from the Legendary Island, and a few of them will be from the Legendary Island because these are it's a lot of boss fights, right? That's all the Legendary Island is. And so death metal, if the picture will ever load, which it might not, but here he is. He has a sick guitar. But of course these guys have no story. It's just death. But this guy, the person that made the Legendary Island, made death. just out of metal, right? The person who made this is his name is Dr. Legendary, and he makes a ton of like boss fights for you to challenge yourself with, a ton of robots. So these are all robots. So death metal is just a cool play on death itself. Not really too interesting. I like the guitar. Ultimately, it's kind of a C tier. It's not really interesting. The next one has probably got to be, whoops, also in the Legendary Island. It's Dr. Legendary himself. In the very end, he fights you, and he is quite a challenge. Here he is, Dr. Legendary, level 170. He is weak to what is that called? Lightning, thunder? I forget what it's called. He's weak to that, but he also does its damage. He's defensive to the other three, and then air is just normal against him. So honestly, his boss fight isn't the hardest. He isn't that hard to beat. He's like he's supposed to be the hardest boss, when in reality the two bosses before him are much harder than him. His story is cool, I guess, where like you have to fight him and he has to like do like you challenge all of his bosses, and if you make it all the way through and you challenge him, then you're good. But ultimately he's kind of easy. His story is a little bit better than death metal, but he's still C tier. Yeah, so next one is the one with 10 levels. I remember this. I forget its name. What is its name? Not that one. Mech Corrupter, not death metal. It's gotta be, come on. Yeah, Matrodosian Idol. This one is dumb. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what the boss is based off of. I've never seen it in Wynncraft. I've never played against it. It maybe has a cool thing, but as you can see here, he literally just goes through 10 levels. They all don't have that much health. It's not that interesting. It just takes forever. And then it's like a little Russian nesting doll, because they're all big, and then the last one's a tiny little person with defensive everything. So it's kind of interesting, but ultimately not that interesting. That's definitely a D tier. Like, barely even remember that. Now the next one is I think it's a Corrupter of Worlds. There it is. Yeah, the Mecha Corrupter of Worlds. Of course, this is just a bad copy of the Corrupter of Worlds. He has two stages here. He's a lot like the Corrupter of Worlds. So the story again isn't that interesting, because he is just that. So honestly, Mecha Corrupter of Worlds, and he's not even hard to beat either, so that's a D tier for me. Now this one, okay, we're done with bad Legendary Island ones. I mean, I don't think we're done, but this one definitely is good. The Orange Sybil, or it's a Wibble, but it's a cyborg, so it's a Sybil. So they take the Orange Wibble, which is a boss fight at a boss altar in Wynncraft, and they turn it into a cyborg, right? And it is absolutely the most dangerous mob in the whole Legendary Island, and it's so tiny and so unassuming. You would think that like, oh, it's easy, right? No, it's not. You have to fight it, and then you have these disintegrator cores and these remote control things. There's so much happening during the boss fight, and the boss itself cannot be attacked when it's on stage 2 or 4, so you have to wait for it to leave those stages in order for you to continue fighting. It is super annoying to fight against. It is super good. It can't be like an A tier or S tier, because again, the story behind it isn't interesting. Now we have another one that is pretty decent. It's Bob's Reinvention. So we know that Bob's Reincarnation is what this is based off of. We'll get into that in a minute. But Robob's Reinvention is kind of interesting. It's just like the actual Bob. He has different stages. I don't know why they don't show all his stages, but he goes through 4 different stages, one with each weapon. He was never a shaman, so there's that. Bob goes through all 4 stages, and he tries to fight you. It's pretty cool. His boss fight is a bit more fun and interesting. I just don't like how you win invisible. He's definitely a B tier for me. And then now we're gonna talk about Yaya bot version 4. Is that a I don't even remember this one. Yaya bot is a hidden boss in Legendary based on, really? It is by beating at least once. After you've done that, go behind the main structure of the island and parkour up to a vent. There will be particles Despite the challenge being a hidden boss room, it is undoubtedly the easiest challenger of them all. It may seem like it is impossible due to the complete resistance of all elements, but after some time he starts releasing spores, causing you to warp to a different area. You may go through 5 separate rooms. Oh, none of the phases have CCI, whatever that means. What rewards do you get? Who knows what damage it does? Dude, that is so interesting. Oh, dude. That is so cool. I wonder, I haven't done this. That's so crazy. Okay, so I had no idea about the Yaya bot version 4.04. Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm just gonna, that's an A tier, because I had no idea. Okay, and now we're gonna get into the actual bosses. Now these can be a lot better. Honestly, these two F tier, bad, trash. Now we're going to talk about Bob's reincarnation. Now the story behind Bob's reincarnation is absolutely great. It's a great story because this is what the original story was, where like you would go around finding what happened to Bob, and then eventually you beat his reincarnation and he bestows upon you like, oh, you are kind of my successor type of deal. So you have to beat all phases of him. Starting off with the spear, and then fighting his bow, then fighting his mage one, and then fighting his assassin one. And then once you beat him, he gives you like the go-ahead, yes, you are good. The boss fight is very hard to beat. You usually want to have somebody with you. It is definitely, it is not as good. It is definitely better than, what's it called? Look, yeah, no. The actual boss fights have to be higher. The Legendary Island boss fights don't deserve to be put on the same place as these. Okay, and then second one that we're going to be talking about is Death. Death itself. You can fight Death in Wynncraft, believe it or not. But guess what? This actually isn't the real Death. If you look at the lore of actual Wynncraft, he may seem like he's the actual Death. He isn't. He's an imposter. He's fake, and it's actually seen in a secret discovery around his area. Yeah, he's just an imposter. You end up meeting Death later on in the story, and Death is a lot more chill than this guy would let you believe. But regardless, the Tower of Ascension is where you find him. You go through 7 floors of fighting so much, and then you fight Death, and then it's actually a super hard boss fight. The story is kind of cool. And when it was first made, it was super interesting. That's mid A tier, for sure. Then we're gonna go over to the Fallen Factory final boss, the Thera supercomputer. Antikythera. I don't know what Antikythera means, and I'm not gonna search it. Y'all can tell me later. But there's a lot of it's just a dungeon boss fight. And looking at this guy, come on, bro. This is the final boss that I'm fighting. A level 100 dungeon boss is just this. He just runs around. He's just a generic boss, really. And he's just a supercomputer that's pissed. His design, like, on the screen is kind of cool. He looks kind of sick. Is there a picture of the screen? He's very cocky. You know there isn't a way for you to go forward here. I could just keep the door locked until you drop from hunger. Like, dude, like, no one asked. Literally 0 people asked. Anyways, the long story short, he is kind of mid, D tier. I don't like him. And then we have, I think, the Eye. Now this is another dungeon boss, but this looks a lot more imposing than the little Minecraft stick figure guy standing there, okay? Like, this guy is level 110. He's very hard to beat. He's got a very interesting boss fight. He drops things from the sky on you. He is very interesting. And look at that. And then eventually the eye comes out as just the pupil, and then you have to fight the pupil of the eye. And, like, they really, like, kind of thought it through, you know? So I think it's super cool what they did with this dungeon. The Eye is a great final boss, and he's one of the final bosses in Wynncraft overall. And so definitely I think this one of all of them kind of deserve SSS tier, triple S tier, because it just makes sense with the story. It's super cool. Yes. Now is one of my least favorites is the Corrupter of Worlds. Now the story behind the Corrupter of Worlds is great. He is whatever, like he has his own story for it. It's perfectly fine. You spend a lot of time at level 75 doing a quest that involves him, and then all of a sudden you fight him and he's just this dude. He's just normal size, just a dude just standing there doing nothing. Like, what the heck? Like, bro, what is going on? Anyways, long story short, he's kind of mid, kind of cringe, kind of less impressive than Yaya's final form. Yeah, there we go, just like that. Okay, and now we're getting on to the last two. Kira, the Mistress of the Hive. What I love about this, because they could have made it with just another boss where someone who hates you and wants to kill you and whatever. No, the Kira, she just wants to see how powerful you are. And then you beat her in a fight. After you beat this boss fight, she's like, look, let's not, like, her minions like, no, you killed her and you beat her in a fight, and it's like, no. And then Kira's like, shut up, bro. This guy beat me. He deserves it. They deserve it. They did great. Yeah, so if the time that Gavel needs help, or the area where we live in, if it needs help, he'll be there and I'll be there. I just want to see how good he was, and he did great. And then she gives us a voucher and we get free stuff, which is amazing. So it's like, she's such a chill boss, because like, it's great. I honestly want to put her, I think personally she's better than Bob, because she's just so much more chill. Bob doesn't really make sense. She's just trying to see how powerful you are. And honestly, I'm gonna move Death down there. I think so. Yeah. And now we're talking about the final one. Oh, the Orange Wibble boss fight. Now this is just a boss altar, so there's not even that much like, there isn't a whole quest associated with this. It's literally just a boss that you find after finding out where the Wibbles came from. And he's like, oh, looks like you found me out. I had been expecting not to find this place. You know, I'll just give you a chance to leave. Just turn around, we'll forget this ever happened. If you come into my room, I won't hesitate to kill you. I'm really going to throw your life away just to see me. This is your last chance. You know what? No, I'm just going to kill you. And you learn, like, the Wibbles are from, like, space. And like, it's super crazy. He's kind of the leader of the group of Wibbles. Yep, exactly. Having machines that read the statuses of the lab. It's super interesting, because they're like, the whole time we're playing throughout Wynncraft, we think that they're just like, oh, they're just little pets, I think. And then you find out, no, like, they're a whole different species that have come from off this planet, and this one is very deadly. The Orange Wibble is crazy, and it's kind of cool. But you know, is it as cool as the eye? No, but it's pretty sick. The story isn't that interesting, is it? No, it's worse than Yaya's, I think. Yeah, so I think that's kind of where I'm at here. Definitely the eye has to be S tier. You have Kira, the Mistress of a Hive there. You have Bob's reincarnation, the fully formed Amadeus. These are kind of, I think, where I believe that they are. The Legendary Island ones don't really deserve it, and I don't like the Fallen Factory final boss. I guess it's decent, but I just hate the whole, like, oh, the supercomputer is rising up. You know, it's just not my favorite. But regardless, those are my thoughts, and I don't care about what you have to think. Don't write in the comments. Don't ever write in the comments. You better not write in the comments. You better not write in the comments. Anyways, actually, please write in the comments. That's how people get traction and watch my videos. Believe it or not, it shows that people interact with my videos and they recommend it to more people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoyed doing this. It was actually quite fun thinking about the things. Wow, yeah, I can't speak. Anyways, like I said, it was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.